Hey guys, Brian here, and Bailey. Welcome back to the shop. Been working outside, but it started raining, so I've been driven in. For the moment, thought I'd shoot a little video here, give you an update, and then I'm gonna try to get this mill column twisted, see if I can't get that straightened out. Sorry for the noise, you probably hear the rain pick up on the camera on this metal roof. But first off, I guess we'll go over viewer mail stuff. Robin Renzetti, he sent a reed head here. This is a AR1 reed head, best I can tell. It's designed for vertical glass. Mine's at an angle, so I'm not for sure if I'll be able to adapt this or retrofit it to get it to work on my machine, but it's worth a try, so I might try this to fix the scales. So thank you, Robin, very much for that. If y'all don't subscribe to Robin's channel, you should. He's working on lapping and measuring his own granite surface plate, getting that thing to AA flat, I think. Otherwise, I've got some J Pay Dirt stuff showed up. I've got an old Kenny hat. It's like Kenny needs a load there. I've got a 37,000 pound lathe to go pick up. Maybe you should come on and bring old Kenny out and we'll go up to Ohio and pick that up. Otherwise, and more J Pay Dirt stuff. We've got a Pay Dirt calendar featuring CAT construction equipment and Kenworth semi trucks. Nice little load there. And we got some lovely ladies. Typical shop type calendar. We got snap-on calendars that work a lot like this. Can't say I recognize any of these girls, but I guess they're out there somewhere, apparently all laying on the beach. I guess since I never go to the beach, I never see them. More importantly, we've got a blueprint here, or tech drawing, I guess, on this water pump shaft of his he's having problems with. Still haven't seen the shaft to copy the rest of the dimensions off of. We've got the bearing fits listed on here, so I'll have that info and I can verify that the shaft he has matches this spec before I ever even start. That could be the problem, is maybe the shaft's not even made to their own spec, who knows. I'm sure CAT doesn't build those parts themselves anymore. Some guy in a barn probably like me is making them for them. I'm sure they probably only build current stuff. So thank you very much, Jeff, for the goodies. How come there's no stickers? You don't have any Pay Dirt stickers? You should get in on that. It's what all the machinist guys have. I got a whole wall of stickers to put up someday as soon as I have a wall. Which, speaking of walls, if you've seen this green tarp in the video, that's a bunch of plywood underneath there for the walls in here. So I need to work on getting that stuff painted and put up, but it's planting season and spraying season, and I got a lot of other stuff I got to do at the moment. It's taking precedence over all this, so we'll just have to get that when I get to it. Also on viewer mail, a viewer named Jim that sent me this timer. He saw my welder video from maybe, I don't know if that was a year or 2 years ago when I made that, where the pre-flow timer had gone out on my welder. It's wired to the pedal, so I just hit the pedal 5 seconds before I start welding and then go ahead and set up to weld, and it does it's manual pre-flow, I guess, for me. But this is a nice heavy duty looking timer. Should work. The connectors are totally different, so I'll have to do something about that, either find some spades to put on these screw heads or cut the wires in the welder to adapt it to this. It's kind of big too, but I think it'll still fit in the space. and bought a USA taper pen assortment because I don't have any taper pens in stock, and there's several of them missing on the G&L, so I needed some taper pens to put back in where they belong. So I got that. This is from MSC. And I think that does it for viewer mail. So I'll show you what else I got going on here, and we'll see if anybody can give me some help on some of it. So before I go about the process of getting this point of bar corrected, I thought I'd go over a little problem I got here and see if anybody can give me some help on this. This is an oil hole. It's supposed to come across and lube this way. I've decided this machine doesn't seem like it's oiling these vertical ways like it should. So I need to address that. It is pumping oil good, but this thing ran probably 20 minutes the other day, and like no oil came out of that hole. I can take compressed air and blow through it, and I can hear it blow out in the headstock, so it's not blocked. But I'll show you what the problem is and see if anybody's got some ideas. So let's take a good look at the headstock. You'll see that there's one pipe plug in the front, which is the access to the oil galley. Open that up, and I got plenty of oil there. It'll pour out when I turn the pump on. But there's no other holes on the front of this, short of the spindles. Maybe that hole, but that looks like a shaft. If I take that loose, over here on the side, we've got the big gear feed box. And I suspect that's what I'm gonna have to take off here to get this to what I need to. Is I'm gonna have to dismantle all that. Because come around here on the back, and we've got the ram. And there's one cover back there. Got that cover right there. But I took the bolts loose, and it feels like it's got some shafts or something in it heavy. It didn't want to move, so I just put it back because I don't think that getting through there is going to give me access to what I need to anyway. So getting up here on top, see, it's just one big solid casting. There are 2 pipe access holes. All I can really see down in there is a gear tooth. Appears to be that the way oiling comes through a pipe. This one here, you can see the oiler. It's that wicking in there that goes into that copper tube. But I can only see one of them. There should be another one up there in the front, but I can't see it. And I don't think I can replace it through that hole anyway, but appears to be the problem is that wicking is shot. It's not drawing the oil away like it should anymore. When I run this thing, it's wrapped around that pipe there, and there's plenty of oil flowing on that pipe, which is supposed to wick down that and lube the waves, but hardly any oil comes down that. So I'm gonna say that wicking's bad and needs to be replaced after all these years, but getting to it's gonna be a bitch. So I think maybe the only way I can access it is to pull this big whole feed mechanism off the side. I don't know what all's involved with that. I'm gonna bet it's not fun. Probably all kinds of goodies in there, but who knows, maybe it'll just hook to this with the crane and I can pull it off. I don't know. If anybody does, if anybody's done this job before and is familiar with how that it all works, or knows of a better access way, I mean, the bottom's pretty well solid too. There's where the oil pump is, under that plate. No plates anywhere else. So I could pull that oil pump out and go up through the bottom and get to that stuff through that hole. I'm thinking not. But it does lube good when it's running. I've adjusted the screw in there for the proper drip feed rate to the spindle bearings, and that's all working like it should. Like I said, appears to be plenty of oil. It's just not getting wicked over to the ways like it should. So oil in the ways is what makes them last. So I really don't want to hand oil this machine. I prefer for it to work like it's supposed to. So I need to see about getting that fixed. For now, I just sit those plugs back in there to keep anything from getting knocked in. That would be a bad day. So if you have any ideas on what to do on the oiling system on this thing, I would certainly appreciate it. If anybody's done this before, especially, they can give me some advice or what not to do. That would always be good too. Otherwise, I'll just have to tear into it and figure it out for myself. There's not much in the book that tells you anything about how to do it. The parts, all I have really is a parts breakdown of it, and it's just a sketch. Doesn't even really show the components, so it's not very handy for figuring out how that all goes. But it'll be a trial and error. You just have to tear into it and see what happens, get that fixed. So then once I get that done, I'll put this plate back on the side I had off to get that oil hole. I'll get that back on before I adjust this column because it could be loose against that way. Some people have suggested shimming the spindle bearings, but that's not how you move this. I'll show you that before I get you. So from the info I've been given, there is a big cast key here which has a shim on the side, and there's a long shim and a short shim. Apparently you're supposed to grind those to correct the point of bar. This has got clearance to the side on it, so I'm going to say that it's already exists enough. This has been into before, and that's not going to be a problem. So I think all I need to do is loosen all those bolts up there that hold this column to the base, and then I can use these screws here and back there that push against the key, and I'll just be able to adjust them and get this thing straightened out. I believe these are the dowels. They're supposed to be tapered dowels that you use to lock this down. So there's one here and there's another one over there, and I think that's what's supposed to hold the column in alignment. But obviously they either have not been re-reamed or they're not correctly adjusted, or it's just gotten out of whack somehow. I'm gonna say that probably this got moved when it got rebuilt sometime and they never re-reamed the holes. Who knows if the point of bar was ever correct or if I got it out of whack when I moved the thing. It's hard to say. But I think I can back him out, twist this thing, and just tighten the bolts up and it'll be good to go. Apparently what they tell me now is that that's all I do is just torque down the bolts, and they don't use dowels or keys anymore for this kind of application. It's apparently normal for these machines to get knocked out of tram and you just have to fix them. So that's what we're going to do. So I hope you're enjoying this bit out of the ordinary content for me. I don't normally do machine tool rebuilds, but this machine has to go into service and it needs some work before that happens. I mean, it's been sitting for 3 years, and before I got it, the people that had it before that, they weren't using it a whole lot either because they had bought a bigger machine to replace it with. So it probably hasn't done a lot in the last 6 years maybe. And who knows? I said, I don't know. It doesn't appear that any of that wicking's ever been replaced. I think this machine was remachined, rebuilt at some point in time, and none of that stuff was fixed. So maybe they weren't that great of rebuilders, or they didn't care, or maybe it was job security. I don't know. Could be any of the above. But I need to get this straightened out before I start using it and wind up damaging it in the process. If it's not oiling, it's not going to be doing itself any good. So need to get that fixed. Hand oiling's not the greatest because the wipers are all on the outside and they'll just wipe the oil off before it gets to where it needs to be down inside there. You're talking a 2 or 3 foot length there that needs oil underneath of it, and just putting it in the outside edges is not going to do a lot for getting it in the middle. So More work to do. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. I'll catch y'all later.